good to be back on the stage. All right, so let's get started. First of all, thank you so much for staying until 4:20 p.m. London time. You are still here and I know that you are waiting for a cloud and container security solution. So thank you so much. Next 35 minutes is going to be interesting ride. I'm Kunal, and I'm a VP of product management for attack surface management, application security, and the new product that my bosses Sumed and Shailesh has given me very recently, Total Cloud, which includes the cloud and container security, right? So super excited to walk you through a journey of on-prem to cloud and how Qualys is part of this journey and how it is helping you secure your multi-cloud environment, all right? So with that said, fasten your belt. So where did it start? It started many, many years ago where you have an on-prem environment and you still have on-prem environment. Do we have any customer here? Please show your hand if you have 100% cloud and 0 on-prem. No. Do we have any customer who is 100% on-prem and no cloud? Okay, we got a few. Okay, but then majority of them are a multi-cloud and the hybrid environment, right? So in a data center world, you were using Qualys' power technology such as a VMDR, policy compliance, file integrity monitoring, and threat detection solutions to secure your on-prem data center workload and your desktop and your laptop and etc. Right? Now, fast forward. Since last few years, there is a digital transformation journey, and everybody is moving to the cloud, right? Multi-cloud. Now, what is happening? In the cloud world, the application become now workload, and your virtual machines have now become a EC2 instances and the Lambda and the container of the world, right? But for our security team, still securing that infrastructure, doing the vulnerability management or compliance for the cloud and container environment, or doing the threat detection for your cloud environment still remains the same, right? So the challenges are everywhere. Now, and we are part of this journey, and over the next 20 minutes or so, I'm going to walk you through how we are going to help you guys secure your multi-cloud and container environment, right? Okay, now let's look at some of the interesting data point. As you guys are moving to your multi-cloud environment, the challenges are multiplied, right? Given that the cloud is a new technology and people are still learning it, there are some configuration issues. So if you really look at it, the 3 major cause of the data breaches in the cloud: vulnerability, misconfiguration, and the malware. Right? These are the 3 main regions where the breaches are happening in the cloud, multi-cloud arena. Now, if you look at the first one, the CIS benchmark, most of the vendors, most of the customers even still do not have a compliance like a 50% across all the 3 cloud providers, right? So implementing those CIS benchmark itself, which is your basic hygiene, that itself is a big challenge. Now, if you look at Log4j, right, vulnerability, still there are 70% of the customers still figuring out the Log4j and how to fix it in the cloud and the container environment, right? And crypto mining, right? This is a new business. The Bitcoin miners, right? They want to hijack your cloud infrastructure and use your free compute. So they are targeting the cloud. So these are the top 3 reasons and they are deploying the malware on your cloud environment, right? Now, these are the prime reason for the breaches that are happening in the cloud. Now, as you lift and shift everything to your cloud or a multi-cloud environment, there are 3 challenges with regard to how you measure the risk, how you communicate the risk, and how you eliminate the risk, right? So now with a cloud and container environment, you have a multi-cloud environment, you have a SaaS applications, you have an on-prem environment still that stays, right? Now, even if you get the visibility with the different silo tool, now the challenge is how do you unify the visibility into the one tool, one console, right? Now, even if you do that, then the question comes, if you have a different tools, each tool is going to generate the risk differently. So how do you then prioritize the risk? How do you unify the risk, right? So the challenges are continuing to multiply. Now, when it comes to communicating the risk, yet another challenge, right? Because now you have yet another new personas that you need to report to. Some of the large organizations have a chief cloud officer, chief digital officer, right? Or you have a CI/CD and the DevOps team, which earlier in the on-prem world, we did not have it. Now, how do you communicate to them? How do you provide them a report of a vulnerability scanning or the compliance report so that they fix it, right? So the challenges are continuing to multiply as you move to the cloud, and if that was not enough, then comes the last part, finding the risk, prioritizing the risk, and eliminating the risk. So how do you remediate? In the cloud and container environment, where you have a very ephemeral workload, that too spanning across your multi-cloud environment, and some are cloud native, some are Lambda, some are API-based workload and whatnot, right? So how do you then remediate across your multi-cloud and the container environment, right? So challenges, challenges, challenges as you move from on-prem to multi-cloud, isn't it? But here is the good news. Good news is introducing Qualys' Total Cloud. Our approach to CNAPP is what the latest keyword that the industry is calling Cloud Native Application Protection Platform. Okay, now let me quickly walk you through what are the components. Okay, so the Total Cloud, as I said, we all were doing and we are still doing the vulnerability management for our on-prem data center environment, our endpoints. Now we want to do for the cloud. Industry calls it as a Cloud Workload Protection, CWPP. Right? And you have a challenges with your on-prem where some of the environment you have agent, some are sensor, right? And some places you are not able to deploy, so same challenges. And with our FlexScan method, we got coverage for any of your environment, and I'll talk in more detail. Second, policy compliance. Compliance doesn't go anywhere, right? Now, policy compliance in the cloud world, it's called as a CSPM, where you are validating all of your configurations and the controls to the CIS benchmark, and industry calls it as a CSPM. And we got an industry-leading CSPM offering, which we launched in 2017, which is now, back then we used to call as a Cloud View. Some of you who knows that our journey, back then it was called as a Cloud View, but now the modern name is a CSPM. Now, for your on-prem environment, industry calls it as a NDR, Network Detection and the Response, isn't it? Now, when you get to the cloud, again, a lot of acronyms, right? But nothing to get scared about. It's the same thing. You're just doing for a cloud. And the container, and in the cloud, it's called as a CDR. Now, we acquired a company a couple of years back, and they had a patented technology with a machine learning and the deep learning and AI, where we are helping our customer, and some of you who are still using that product for your on-prem and the cloud both. And it is a machine learning, deep learning-based product. And that helps you to find the malware. It is completely signature-less system. It's doing all behavioral analysis and finding the threats in your cloud environment, right? Containers. Now, as you move to the cloud, right, you have a containerized workloads. And we got the coverage for your container security product, where we can start from your shift left all the way to the CI/CD pipeline, to scanning your image repository. And when the containers are running, we can monitor the container runtime behavior. And again, same, for the container, you need to do vulnerability scanning, you need to do policy compliance, you need to do the file integrity monitoring. So still same, just the different acronyms. And you have trusted Qualys to do everything for your on-prem environment, right? So looking forward to same love from you guys when you move to the cloud and do all of this with us, right? And the latest one that we introduced is our SaaS PM. Now, again, this is a new acronym where organizations are embracing a lot of SaaS applications, right? You have a Zoom, you have a Okta, right, and whatnot. You have a Office 365, Salesforce, you have a remote worker. So now what we are doing, again, we are not becoming a CASB company, but what we are doing is finding out all of your SaaS application, finding out who are the users and whether they are configured correctly. For example, you have a Zoom video recording that is shared with your ex-employee. Now, that's out of compliance, isn't it? So finding out all of this with our one single product called Total Cloud, where all of the use cases, whether you want to do vulnerability management, compliance, file integrity monitoring, container security, SaaS application protection, everything. One platform, Total Cloud, right? Now, when you deploy our product, we have listened to your feedback. Some of you who have done the POCs in the past and who are using our product, the feedback was, hey, the onboarding in the cloud world is a bit challenging, and we listened to your feedback, and I'm going to show you the demo of how we have improvised our onboarding workflow with a 3-step. And if you happen to see Chaitrali, she is our VP of UX design. So if you like the demo that I'm going to show you, say thank you to her. That is, she and her team has built a fantastic experience, 3-step onboarding workflow, right? And then you could select any feature that you like, CSPM, CWPP, or threat detection, whatever you like it, across your multi-cloud environment, GCP, Azure, and the AWS. And we are supporting now Oracle as well, right? Okay. Now, let's talk about the vulnerability scanning, right? I think everyone in this room is very much interested in doing the vulnerability scanning for their cloud environment. Now, again, we listen to your feedback very sincerely, and we make every attempt to implement your feature request and your ask, right? So some of you came and said, hey, for my cloud workload, I'm not able to deploy the agents because some of them are ephemeral workload. We got you. We got an API-based assessment, 10 minutes, no agent required. You have some long-running workload. You want to deploy the agent, we have agent-based scanning. You have done a merger and acquisitions, and you don't have access to some of the workload that you have inherited through the company that you acquired, we got you. Snapshot-based scanning. And you wanted to do the network scanning where you could deploy our cloud scanner in your cloud environment, we can do the network scanning, right? So there is no one-size-fits-all. If you want to do the quick scanning, got it. You want to do the agent-based, got it, right? So all the options available. And here is the quick table that shows you the power of a various scanning method. Like I said, there is no one-size-fits-all, right? Some methods work very well for you. For example, you do not have a access of the snapshot all the time because it's from your subsidiary or merger and acquisitions. You can use snapshot-based, but obviously it comes with some limitations. Now, if you do the API-based scanning, then we are leveraging the cloud service provider's native API to do the scanning. But then with that, we cannot find the third-party vulnerabilities. That's a limitation from CSP, not with us. And now if you wanted 100% coverage, real-time, agent-based scanning, right? So we got all the 3 options, and the first 2 options, which is the API-based and the agent-based, is supported through all the 4 cloud, including the Oracle. So if you have agents, Qualys agents deploy in your OCI workloads, then you could do your agent-based scanning, and you can continue to do the API-based scanning as well. Okay. Now, when it comes to the cloud, you keep hearing these inventory words, right? And in the cloud arena, now you have resources, you have instances, you have containers, you have a Lambda, you have an IAM role, you have a SaaS application and whatnot, right? But we got you. We have a coverage across all the 3 major providers where we are discovering all of your SaaS applications, we are finding all of your users, IAM users, and what access they have, and all of the application and resources in our system, right? Okay, now comes the interesting part, right? If you have a vulnerability on your EC2 instance, only the vulnerability, it's not that bad, it's not that toxic. But what if you have a same instance vulnerabilities with a misconfiguration? Now we are talking. And what if you have a same instance with a vulnerability, misconfiguration, and it has a malware, and it is exposed on the internet? Now you have a serious problem. Now the question here is, how are you going to collect, correlate, and stitch together all of these insights together in a one console? And obviously, I haven't met any customer who love their Splunk SIEM because of the correlation and the manual effort, and you don't want to do for the cloud either. With that said, introducing the new concept called True Risk Insights, right? So Sumed introduced the True Risk concept 3-4 years back. It became so popular that now we are expanding the True Risk concept from your on-prem data center infrastructure to the cloud. Now what we are doing here is a very interesting thing, right? And I'm going to show this in a demo, and this is shipping, right? So for example, assume you have a workload with a critical vulnerabilities exposed, right? And now on the same machine, you see that there is a C2 beaconing happening, and it is the communicating with the suspicious, malicious IP. And on the same machine, now we are detecting some vulnerabilities and some end-of-life, end-of-service software. and this is exposed on the internet. Now what happens? We are automatically gathering all of these insights and showing you the true risk score for your organization for this particular assets, because we are automatically correlating all of these insights, right? So this is a new concept that we are launching, and guess what? We got something for you. We are now introducing a free report for your multi-cloud infrastructure to find the risk insights, very similar to the EASM report that you guys have collected. Now this is still in a design phase. And the only way we are going to accelerate when all of you go to Matt and Charlie and the Carl and the Kevin and the Ohiba of the world and say that we need this report. Then it's going to happen super fast, right? But yes, we are going to work on this report where you will see all of your cloud true risk insights, okay? Next, okay. Now in the cloud area, cloud arena, right, how do you communicate the risk to a different stakeholder, right? You have a DevSecOps teams, right? You have a cloud architect that is a different team. The vulnerability team is different. So every persona needs a different report, right? And you have a chief digital officer or a chief cloud officer, they need a different report. And we have a pre-built report templates, including we have a plugin with your CI/CD pipeline, Git repository, so that now you can generate the report for your DevSecOps audience, so that while they are building the container image or cloud instances during their DevSecOps pipeline, now they have all the insights. When you do the vulnerability scanning, you can feed them through all of these integrations. Now comes the interesting part, right? Is that how do you then eliminate this risk faster in the cloud arena, right? And we have this capability called Qflow. And in fact, I met few customers today morning and they have implemented the Qflow to do a lot of automation. This is nothing but a SOAR solution for your cloud environment where you can build a response framework with like a drag and drop playbooks on what actions you want to take when you see a particular event, right? And this is shipping. We are integrating with your ITSM tools, and we are integrating on your shipped left with your CI/CD pipeline, and also all of your cloud team, which is used to write some automations. They love writing the code. They love creating some automation. We got this nice editor, drag and drop workflows, so that you can remediate the threat very, very fast. All right. Now, we are in the last section called container security, right? So far, everything that we discussed is about the multi-cloud. Now, let's talk quickly about container security, and then I will switch to the demo. All right. When it comes to the container, you must have been hearing two different words, shipped left, shipped right. And some vendors like a Sneak and others, they just focus on shifting left. But then what about your runtime production environment? Is that not critical? And some vendors are only doing shift right, only doing runtime. And then how about then your development DevSecOps cycle? But we got a coverage on both the side. So we have integrations with your CI/CD build tool like a Jenkins and the Bamboo. And once the developer compiles the container images, and as soon as they are checked into your container repository or a registry is what in the new world that they call it, then you can run our vulnerability scanning with the image repository as well. Next, now somebody from your application team or a cloud team is going to take some of those images and create the container and deploy the workload. That's the natural cycle, isn't it? Developer build the container images, they are in the image repository, then the application team picks up some of those images and create a running instance, which we call it as a container, which is carrying some of your application workload, right? And we have a coverage for your container runtime security. Again, for the runtime security, we can find the malware, secrets, we do the behavioral analysis and everything, right? So we got a coverage end-to-end for that. Now comes the interesting part. So far I showed you that, hey, we got a coverage for your CSPM, compliance, your threat detection, your SaaS applications, and your container. And you must be thinking that, oh, in order for me to try all of this capability, looks like I need to go convince my bosses and ask for a higher budget. But that's not the case. We have come up with this very innovative licensing mechanism called QLU, where you buy, say, $1,000 credit or whatever you want to call it, and then you can use that $1,000 credit or a QLU towards any of the use cases, right? Think of this as you are walking into the Disneyland, the amusement park, and you are buying a fast pass for $100 so that you can get in the front of the line. Now you can decide that, hey, my friend Kamran likes the roller coaster, so he is using all $100 towards the roller coaster, go for it. Or you want to spread across 20 rides, go for it, right? So it's up to you to use this credit how you want to use it, okay? So we started this journey with on-prem, and now we are in a multi-cloud environment. I am sure through the last 20-minute journey, I took you through the cloud and I took you to the Disneyland and whatnot, right? So now from the cloud to on-prem to cloud, whether it is a on-prem workload or the cloud workload or a containerized environment, we got you the coverage, right? So here is the thing. Let's get started with the total cloud. How are we going to get started? Here is the thing that I did not tell you. Did you know that if you have unused VMDR licenses, then you can use some of that towards trying out the total cloud and buying some of those functionalities? CSPM, CWPP, or whichever use case you want to do it, right? You have an option to now move those SKUs to your, or the clue in this case, to the cloud environment. So now you can try it out different features, and you can see the unified risk across your on-prem and cloud, right? So with that said, time for the demo. This time Matt is not waving his hand, so I'm doing good on time. Are you going to airlift me when my time is over? All right, so as I said, let's start with the exciting onboarding workflow. Is that okay? Is there? Okay. All right, like I said, 3-step workflow. So once you log into the portal, you see the 3-step, like I said. You set up your connector, then you do the test drive of your car, right? Before you buy the car, you do the test drive. So you do the test drive and make sure that the connectors are actually working well or not. And once that is done, then we are automatically giving you the Tesla's self-driving ride by discovering all of the vulnerabilities and misconfigurations for your cloud environment, right? So let's look at this workflow. All right, so select your cloud provider, and let's say in this case, AWS is the most popular one. So once you select the AWS, then the next step, I think this is where you need to partner with your cloud team and figure it out how you want to Qualys platform to connect to your AWS cloud VPC account and the other thing. And the way we do it is a different method, right? The most common method is by authentication. And this is where the launch stack is the most popular one. Now, there are some organizations where developer writes this template, right? And they call it as a cloud formation template, CFT. Like you, I am also learning some of the acronyms in the cloud, right? Because they keep coming with a new acronym and new things every single day. Right, so there are different options. In this example, I am showing you the easiest one where you are creating the IAM role. With that, Qualys can access to your cloud environment, right? So now we are doing that, setting up your ARN, and then now we are testing the connection. So once the connection is established, right? So now it's ready to go, right? The test drive is done, you liked it, and it's ready to go. So you save the configuration. And great job, by the way, right? And then, now look at this. This is the Tesla self-driving model. It's getting information. It's got the inventory, misconfiguration, cloud risk score, and then 30 minutes later, after your beer break or a Starbucks coffee break, your dashboard is ready, right? So this is how the simple workflow that we are currently working on. And this is going to come at the end of Q2 or early Q3, right? Okay. Next demo is about showing you the risk for the cloud environment. So let's go here. And now in this demo, whatever I'm showing you guys is shipping. You got a check or you got a scan code that you can scan and transfer the money to Matt, please do it. Okay, because this is all shipping. All right, so here is our total cloud dashboard. As you can see, all of the true risk insights and the compliance postures across your cloud, the misconfigurations in your cloud environment, the workload that are misconfigured, and the complete inventory, as you see, like vulnerable public instances, what are the misconfigurations, what are the threats, what are the perimeter vulnerabilities, right? Images that are running malware and secrets. Right, now let's jump into the true risk insights, right? And this is shipping, just that the free report that I was showing you, that is not shipping, but the true risk insight is there in the product. So when you do the trial, you should be able to see this dashboard. Just that generating the free report is going to happen by Q2 or a Q3, right? So now you see the third one, and where we have correlated all of the data where you have a publicly exposed VM instance. And on that instance, we are seeing that and that's a database instance. And on that, we see that you do not have even an encryption on your database instance. And we are seeing that it has a vulnerabilities. Now let's double click on this instance and let's figure it out. What do you have there? Right, so now you see this instance is exposed on the internet. And now let's quickly see that what are the controls that we evaluated. This is nothing but your policy compliance for the cloud. And this is against the benchmark, CIS benchmark, right? So we are validating all of those controls to give you the compliance posture of this instance, right? Next, look at the true risk score. And then the true risk is computed based on the criticality and based on the other risk factor that you see, like the vulnerabilities that are there on that machine, the unauthorized port. Since this machine is exposed on the internet, as you see that port 22 is open, it has some missing software that you needed it. Because of that, the risk score is very high. Right, now you see the interesting part. This is where our deep learning and machine learning and our AI comes in the play, where we are using this technology that we acquired through a company to do the malware and the threat detection for both your on-prem and for your cloud environment, right? For on-prem, it's called as NDR, network detection, and for the cloud, it's called as the CDR, right? But the same machine learning and the AI-powered algorithm, wherever it is, whether it's on-prem or cloud, right? So now you see here on this machine, it is automatically detecting a suspicious communication that is going to some malicious IP. And now you see here is some of the additional informations about where it is going, where the beaconing is happening. So it's not just throwing a signal that you see in your Splunk SIEM and then checking the different 10 consoles to figure it out actually what happened, right? That's how the Splunk has worked. But with us, we have all the information. Now here is our deep learning signature-less, the malware detection technique that is finding out that there are some malwares that are on these machines, and we are finding those hashes and end-to-end sort of a process tree or a kill chain view, if you will, right, where we are showing you complete history of what is happening there. Now you see here the crypto jacking. On the same machine now, the crypto miners have hijacked the machines, and now here you can see that the possible crypto mining that with our AI technology that we are detecting it. Next, let's look at the unauthorized activity, because on the same machine, we are seeing that the brute forcing activity is happening, right? Now again, those instances and those signals, everything is correlated for you. And then you see the suspicious communication that is happening on this machine, right? Which also our AI technology has detected that this machine is under perhaps the threat, where we are seeing the suspicious thing, right? So everything in a one platform, where as you see, we automatically collected and correlated and stitched together all the signals that, hey, here is the public facing database VM instance. On that, we are seeing the vulnerabilities. On that, we are seeing it is on internet. We are seeing that SSH port is open. We are seeing that there is some suspicious traffic happening on that. We are seeing the SSH brute force. So all of those are tied together. And now last part, the container scanning, right? So for your containerized environment, as I said, we get into your image repository or a registry, and then we are scanning that for malware and other thing. And same again, the AI technology that we acquired through this company, we have now extended from on-prem, which we call it as NDR, to the cloud and to the container. So the same technology, deep learning and AI, is applied in finding out all of your malicious files. And now here is an interesting one that I want to talk about, as that here you see this hash that our technology has detected. Now here is the verification from the virus total. You use the same hash and you put it in a virus total, you see that. But like I said, our technology, our deep learning AI technology is completely signatureless. So you can validate that we have detected this with a high accuracy by checking that hashes on the virus total website as well. This is from the virus total. Okay. Now, once that is done, let's look at some of the secrets that perhaps running on your container images, right? So let's look into that quickly. That here are the images, and as they are compiled and as they are running, right? You will see the here is your Docker IO image, and then when it comes to secrets, we know that because of the GDPR compliance and the violation, we are not showing you exactly those SSH key or a secret, but rather you see that we are showing that, hey, here is your file path called journal log, and in that we are detecting 3 secrets, okay? But and then here is the line number where we are seeing those secrets. But we are not actually showing those secrets because of the compliance reason, but then we are showing you everything so that your team can go and figure it out. So here is the regex that we use for finding out this one, the secrets. And the last part is about the container drips, right? I'm sure you keep hearing this dripped word when the developers are talking about containers, right? So what does a drip mean? Drip means there are some changes in the container. When the container image was compiled, you had, let's say, 10 vulnerabilities and the 10 softwares. But then when the container become the running instance, now your developer, he wanted to debug something in your container workload, so he deployed some Wireshark and additional software. So now the image that you have versus the running instance container, you have a drift, right? And that drift could cause a vulnerabilities and exposure in your environment. And here is how we can help you find all of those. Let's look at this here. Go to the drift, and then you see the new and the removed, right? So the new softwares that got added, but we did not see that in your image repository, and that's why we are showing this as a drift for all of you guys. So now you know these are the containers with a drift where you have a higher risk. With that said, it concludes the Total Cloud presentation and the demo. Thank you so much, guys.